festival honors William A. Fickling Sr. for his contributions to the city. It continues throughout this week. Our guests today on Close Up to discuss plans for the event are Edwina Barnes, chairman of the main event for the festival, Festival Chairman Bill Simmons, and Beverly Manning, who's chairman of the festival ball. Also with us, reporter Carol Slart.
Hello, everyone. I have a question for Edwina to begin with. How did Macon come to be blessed with all the beautiful cherry trees, which is the whole reason for this big event? Tell the story to everyone.
Well, probably Mr. Simmons is better at that than I am, but Bill Fickling started this many, many years ago, as I understand it. He's been most gracious, to give these cherry trees to so many people to beautify the city. But Mr. Simmons probably can give you more detail about that since he's been here much longer than I have.
Okay, Mr. Simmons.
I'm sorry to have to not dispute that. That's entirely correct. Bill Fickling was a frequent visitor to Washington, and he was intrigued with the cherry trees he saw there along the Potomac. So he identified them and did a little research on them. He got a specimen plant, and he has propagated them very successfully for, I presume, 25 or 30 years. He has given a total now of 30,000 plus cherry trees to Macon and the immediate vicinity, and they should be in full bloom, I think, and perhaps no better than to not be in full bloom for our Festival Week activities. Matter of fact, we celebrate during this week Bill Fickling Sr.'s 80th birthday, and which happens to be the 23rd, and we have a special musical group in the park for him, and are going to have a birthday party in his honor on that occasion. He will be there and his family, and we hope the general public will show their appreciation and affection both to Bill Fickling on that day by being on hand to enjoy the birthday party.
Okay.
You don't suppose he's going to be upset by your giving away his age, do you?
Well, I hope not. I think perhaps he will not under the circumstances.
Now, these are exactly the same cherry trees that surround the tidal basin and so forth in Washington, am I not?
They are,
correct?
Except we have far more than they do.
More than Washington?
Far more than Washington, and so far as I know, outside of the cherry growing areas in Michigan and California, we have more than any city in the world, really.
What type of tree is that? How is that pronounced? It starts with a...
Yoshino cherry, flowering cherry. Mm-hmm.
And this is a Japanese cherry tree.
Well, originally, yes.
Originated from Japan.
Yeah.
And I believe
those in Washington were given by Japan, as a matter of fact, to the city of Washington.
I believe we'll have a delegation from Japan that'll be taking part in the Cherry Blossom Festival.
Yes, indeed. We will have a number of representatives from Kurobe, the sister city of Macon in Japan.
And they have given the city a monument, I believe, which will be part of that dedication.
Yes.
Which is the opening of the Cherry Blossom Festival this afternoon at 3 o'clock. At
3 o'clock in 3rd Street Park.
And they'll be present at that.
They will be present at that, and they will, other dignitaries will be there also. Senator Nunn is going to be on hand, and Representative Rowland.
Well, there's also going to be an unveiling of a very important statue. What is the statue going to be?
The statue is really a lantern carved in Japan, especially for this occasion. It's 6 feet tall and weighs, I'm told, about 7,000 pounds. It's quite a monument to our Cherry Blossom Festival and our friendship with the people in Kurobe, Japan, particularly.
Nobody will be making away with that monument anytime soon.
I think it will be fairly permanent there.
How long has the planning been in the making for this entire festival? It's so involved and so much going on. How did it all begin? Was it a year ago? More?
It was not a year ago. It should have been. And I would hope that somebody will start immediately following this event to plan for next year, whoever that somebody may be. But there has been an awful lot of planning, and I think it would have been impossible to put a program of activities together of the sort we have had it not been the sort of spectacular thing that captured everybody's imagination, and the whole community, all aspects of it, have been just unbelievably cooperative and enthusiastic. And the events that we planned are going to be very well attended, and it's going to be a week, I think, to remember.
Do you know offhand how many organizations have been involved in planning for this and are sponsoring events as part of this Well, you want to say week-long. That's the good old standard phrase, but it's not. It's about a week and a half.
It expanded beyond
expanded week. Yes.
Literally thousands of people are involved and have been involved in the planning and the eventual execution of this whole program.
Local businesses, industries,
local
civic
businesses have voluntarily
clubs.
come forward and said yes, they want some part in it and they want to be helpful. It's been refreshing, and it's been the kind of thing that I think has welded the whole community together, commercial and individually.
Edwina, can you highlight some of the things that all the folks would want to attend? I was reading through the brochure and I saw a Japanese puppet show and then a demonstration of an origami demonstration. Am I saying it?
There again, I cannot go through the entire week. The main things that I have been involved with have been the main event and then the awards, and that's about all that I have been able to handle. There again, Mr. Simmons may be able to give you more information about that than I can, because the other 2 or 3 have really kind of taken all my time.
Why don't you tell us about the main event, what that is, and give Mr. Simmons a break?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll let him rest for a few minutes. The main event is a presentation by Belt Matthews of the Bill Blass and the Norman Norell fashions, this will be a world premiere. Either one of these have never been shown together any place. Now, of course, you've heard of Bill Blass an awful lot, but very few people, well, in the last 10 years probably have heard a lot about Norman Norell because he is deceased. And his clothes are in the Metropolitan Museum. And they're well worth over $1 million, and we are just so pleased that Belts was able to get all this worked out for us, and they are, it's going to be a fantastic show. It's going to start around 6:30. And I think the majority of the tickets have been sold, but Macon Heritage is in charge of these ticket sales. And I think that anybody that misses this is going to be, miss the chance of a lifetime, because I don't know where they'll ever see it again.
Where are you getting the models that are going to be in the show?
The models, I think, a lot of them are coming out of Atlanta because the size of Norman Norell's clothes, been starting back in the 30s, we have had a very difficult time getting small girls and that could also wear the sizes that they wore back then. So, they've had quite a problem trying to locate girls to fit these gowns.
What role will Miss Macon and the Cherry Blossom Queen play in the festival? Will she be at the ball? And
well, Miss Macon is actually going to be the queen of the Cherry Blossom Ball. Yes.
I see. So she'll be presented?
She'll be presented that night at the ball along with the princesses who are representatives from all the high schools here in Macon.
I see.
And I believe
They will also be in the parade on Saturday.
That's right.
You're in charge of plans for the ball.
That's
now,
right.
Are you not,
My husband and I, yes.
Give us some detail on the ball. I think we're going to have a rather prominent television personality featured at that ball.
Yes, we are. Zsa Zsa Gabor will be a guest at the ball that night. We have been delighted with the response to the ball. Well, overwhelmed might be a better word. We, of course, have been sold out for quite some time, and we do urge people who would like to attend as spectators to buy tickets for the balcony. There will be spectator seats only in the balcony, but these tickets are on sale at $5 each, and they're being sold at the main office and all the branch offices of the Trust Company Bank.
Now, the ball is Friday night.
Friday night from 8 to 12, and Peter Duchin's orchestra will be playing. And we think it's going to be a beautiful thing and a fun evening.
It's going to be at the City Auditorium.
That's right.
That should be fantastic. And
well, it's such a beautiful building. That's right. It's such a beautiful building anyway, and we have lovely decorations. We're using a set design sort of backdrop using the cherry trees, and well, I won't tell you all about it. You ought to go and see it.
Well, what is the
Willard Scott, another person of some considerable notoriety, is going to be here also, and we hope that he'll be here for the ball as well as he's coming in the day before, and we hope he'll be here through the ball. I believe he's on, I'm shy to use the word, but I believe he's on the Today Show.
Yeah.
Well, I think we've got a couple of people from CBS.
That's right. We also have Dr. Amy.
We do indeed.
From As the World Turns, who will be a guest at the ball that night.
That sounds fabulous. Explain to me a little bit about the cloth that you have.
Well, the Bib Company is introducing a new sheet design during the week of the festival, and At the ball, the guests will receive pillow shams as gifts. We're quite impressed with them and think they're beautiful, and think everybody in this area and a lot of other areas would like to own some of these.
And this was designed just especially
just for the for the Cherry Blossom Festival. As a matter of fact, it's being named Cherry Blossom Festival. That's the name of the design.
Beautiful.
That'll be available commercially then, after the festival?
Oh, yes, Not this particular design, but there will be a plain pillowcase. This is a sham, but they'll have sheets and pillowcases in this design.
They are available now, aren't they, in some of the stores already?
No,
I thought somebody told me they were.
No, they will be.
During the festival,
yes.
Who did that fantastic artwork? That's absolutely beautiful, do you know?
Well, the bib designers did this.
The bib company designers did that?
Yes,
Well, they're well known, of course, for their...
And Valeria Murphy, who has worked so closely with us on the festival, was a big help in all this, too.
Okay, we'll be back to discuss the Cherry Blossom Festival further after we pause for this word.
Okay, we're continuing now our discussion about the Macon Cherry Blossom Festival, and Edwina was telling me during our break that she has been very involved also with an awards luncheon. Explain to me a little bit about what that's going to involve.
Well, the awards luncheon is held every year by the clean community, and this will be to honor the people that have done so much to help Carolyn Creighton, which I know that everyone knows Carolyn Creighton, and she has worked so very, very hard on this Cherry Blossom Festival. And this will be done to honor the people that have worked with her. And Kathy Jackson, our designer here in Macon, will be doing the fashion show. We will have lunch, but that will be by invitation only. That is not open to the public.
Okay, and I understand that there is a very special figurine that has been designed.
A Beam porcelain. The Mrs. Edward Marshall Beam is a friend of ours, and when I found out about the festival, in fact, I think that Helen was here at the time, and we approached her about doing the cherry blossoms in porcelain, and it is just the prettiest piece I think they've ever done. It has they've only did one, and they will only do one of these, and they said for me not to even ask for another one because they had to work so hard. And this was done in Malvern, England, and I just have gotten it, but it is very, very pretty, and has a value of about $10,000.
Will it be displayed somewhere?
It will be given to the city and county at the opening ceremonies on Sunday, and it will be displayed wherever they think will be the best place.
Okay.
That should produce some interesting negotiations between the city and the county.
Well, I'm sure.
Where they're going to display that, in the courthouse or the city hall. You mentioned Carolyn Creighton, and Carolyn has been involved quite a bit in preparing for this Cherry Blossom Festival. Has she not, Mr. Simmons?
She has indeed, and you asked earlier about the length of time the plans actually have been in process, and for at least 6 months is all I can say, because that's an approximation. But the truth of the matter is, we have been very busily involved for at least that length of time in the plans and preparations for the Cherry Blossom Festival.
Was it Carolyn's idea originally to start this whole
It was
thing?
Carolyn's idea entirely, yes, indeed.
And it is a joy to work with Carolyn. She has an energy level that I don't think is surpassed by anyone I have ever seen.
Everyone going.
And everyone going, and everyone enthused, and people call Carolyn to see what they can do to help her, because they know that whatever she's behind is going to be a roaring success.
Well, she can clean up the city of Macon single-handedly.
Very
Cherry Blossom
irresistible.
Festival should be a snap.
Next time, I certainly hope I'll be working with somebody with a little less imagination.
You say this is the first annual Cherry Blossom Festival, so that gives us the idea this is going to be an annual affair.
We anticipate that it will. We hope this whole festival will be self-sustaining, and that we'll start into next year with a little reserve balance, which will certainly indeed smooth the way for next year's festival, to have some little balance for the upfront promotional expenses that are involved.
Well, this is an extremely elaborate thing. In fact, I don't believe I think we have about a 4-page list of events that are going to be part of this festival, and this is very small type. And as we said, the festival really started earlier this week. It started along about Thursday.
Yes,
with some events, and it goes right on through Sunday of next week.
Correct.
Well,
I
the
believe.
festival actually is offering something for everybody.
Everybody.
All age groups, no matter what your interest are, there's something for you, whether it's tennis, golf, grand music.
And a wide variety.
Yes, a
Bluegrass,
wide
country,
variety.
and
So
western.
that truly, you know,
square
includes
dance.
the entire city.
There's an
because you've
appeal
got
to everyone.
Children. And,
That's right.
And I've also noticed that you're going to have some afternoon music in 3rd Street Park, and
That's right.
sort of a lunch hour for people downtown.
And there'll be a musical program every night, it's my understanding, at the
every-
Grand Opera House. Some different type of music every night.
And a concert at Westgate every afternoon, late afternoon, I believe, 7 to 8 o'clock.
So no matter who you are, you can participate and
right.
Celebrate the
Very
first
definitely.
annual Cherry Blossom Festival.
And I think one of the most interesting things, of course, on Saturday, the parade will be held.
11 o'clock Saturday morning.
That's right.
Downtown.
Yes,
Okay.
and they have had, how many entries, Bill? Did they announce the other day?
I believe they've had more than 60.
There was a tremendous number. There will be a tremendous number participating. Also on Saturday, there'll be the food festival in the parking lot by the Grand Opera House, and all different ethnic groups in the city will participate in this. So that should appeal to everyone. There'll be the Greek community will participate, and the Italian and Japanese and Chinese and varied groups around
And will you
town.
have a chance to sample the different
that.
food?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes,
yes. So if you're on a diet, stay out of that.
I'm afraid so, yes.
Will the parade, back to the parade Saturday at 11, will there be any particular theme to the parade? Will your floats, for instance, carry out the cherry blossom theme or a flower theme or anything of that nature?
Well, now, I'm only familiar with one float, so I better let Bill speak.
I think it will carry out the theme of the festival. Yes.
I imagine there'll be the usual bands and floats
Yes.
and so
Yes.
forth of that nature. Let's just go down this very impressive schedule here and see if we can't highlight some of these things that are going to be coming up during the rest of the week. We've mentioned the opening ceremony, which is this afternoon at 3 o'clock in the 3rd Street Park down on the Mulberry Street side of the 3rd Street Park. And then there'll be the fashion show, which is tonight at 7 o'clock at Belt Matthews.
6:30, I believe.
6:30?
6:30.
Tonight at Macon, at the Macon Mall, Belt
Right.
Matthews. Now, Monday morning, we start off at 10 o'clock with a Cherry Blossom Gardens tour. That sounds very interesting. Tell us about that.
Now, I believe, I have not been directly involved in this, but Bill, correct me, I think that the buses, there will be buses available to take people to different gardens around Macon of interest, so that people who are not familiar with the cherry trees can actually see these, hopefully in bloom, full bloom.
And it includes some private gardens as well.
Yes.
And the buses will leave at 10 o'clock from the Macon Hilton.
I believe that continues. If you can't make it Monday, I think I noticed on this schedule
It's
that you
daily.
have another one every
Yes.
day.
Yes.
Yes.
And it's every morning at the same time from the Hilton.
Correct.
At 10 o'clock.
Right.
According to the schedule here, one of the highlights of this tour is Dr. Sweeney Sykes' Japanese Garden and Orchid Collection.
It's lovely.
That's supposed to be a real highlight of the tour, is it
Yes,
not?
It is,
yes.
yes.
And then coming up on Tuesday, it's a Cherry Blossom Children's Festival. So, you know, you don't want to leave the children out. What is that going to entail?
This is going to involve, we hope, an awful lot of children, and will include playing these machines at Pac-Man and what are
Well,
the
they
others
just
that I
got a
can't
bunch of
recall.
them
You see,
there.
I'm not very experienced in that direction, but there'll be a lot of free gifts for the children, and they will draw for some prizes, including large kites, and there will be entertainment for them as well, in addition to the Pac-Man type thing. So we may be declaring a Pac-Man victor among the juveniles who are involved in that.
And what is
That'll be at Rivoli Crossing.
Okay, what is an origami
I
demonstration?
hoped you wouldn't ask me that. I'm not sure I know what an origami.
So you have to go to find out, right?
Yeah, have to go to find
Now,
out.
while we find out, let's pause here and take another break, and we'll be back to discuss the Cherry Blossom Festival.
Okay, we are continuing now our discussion of all the plans for the Macon Cherry Blossom Festival. I have a question for Mr. Simmons. Can you explain to me a little bit about what the Norfolk Southern group is going to have to do with everything?
Yes, this is a group of musicians that have particular significance, I think, to Bill Fickling on his birthday. They're appearing at the concert in the park on the 23rd. We'll be at the Grand Theater that night. Both events are, no admission is required for them. The Norfolk Southern Lawmen, as they call themselves, are a country and western bluegrass type group that are simply fantastic. They play at the Southern Railway Forest, and Bill Fickling, as a board member of the Georgia Southern Florida Railroad, has been there on many occasions and heard this group perform. So they have a particular significance, I think, in being here for that particular day with Bill. They're celebrating his birthday and they're furnishing the music. I hope everybody will come. I think they'll enjoy it.
Let's go on down our list of events. There's no way in the world, in the time we've got left, we can mention every single thing that's going to be happening during this festival, but let's see if we can't pick out some of the highlights. We've made our way through Tuesday and the Children's Festival out at the Rivoli Shopping Center, Rivoli Crossing. Wednesday, of course, we have more music in the park, 3rd Street Park. That's 12:30 to 1:30. What's the Kitchen Caravan, which we've got listed Wednesday for 10 a.m. and again from 3 to 7. That's sponsored by Wesleyan alumni.
You want to speak to that?
Well, various kitchens around Macon will be open to the public, and they, you can visit these kitchens to see them, and they're most attractive and
unusual kitchens.
Unusual
yes,
kitchens.
Oh, in private homes?
Yes. Oh, yes.
Private homes.
I see.
That's interesting.
Yes.
Okay. Thursday, of course, we've discussed the annual awards luncheon for the Clean Community Commission, and that's at noon, and that's at the Macon City Auditorium, and I believe we said that's a by invitation
That's right.
function. Okay. Then
Thursday night.
Thursday night, 6:30, we have the opening reception of Artists in Georgia at the Museum of Arts and Sciences.
Yes.
You tell us a bit about that. What does that feature?
Well, it features Georgia artists and their works, and there'll be a wide variety of them, and I think it's something that the public will genuinely enjoy. It also features the Steel Bandits, I believe is the name they give themselves, a calypso group from Perry, Georgia, who perform with on the metal oil cans, I call them, and they really aren't, but they are tropical type Latin American music.
We did a story on the news about these folks not long ago, I think, a couple of weeks ago. We did something on them.
I hate to interrupt, but getting back to this musical thing, is it Monday night that the jazz group is going to appear at the Hilton? Is it Thursday night?
Thursday night.
Thursday night.
Thursday night, I believe.
Yes, and that is something that I think a lot of people would really enjoy. They are so good.
Monday night and Thursday
Monday night
night.
and Thursday night.
And that's at the Hilton.
That's right.
And that starts at what time?
But Monday night is going to be at the Grand Opera House.
That's right.
And Thursday night will be at the Hilton.
That's right.
Again, no admission for the performance at the Grand Opera House. And they are a very celebrated jazz group.
Right.
In fact, according to the schedule here, there's some sort of an evening concert every night at Westgate from 7 until 8 o'clock. And I assume your musical groups will change each night at the Westgate Shopping Center. Elementary school choir, 280 students, a band and orchestra, plays Thursday night at 7:30 at the Grand Opera House. Let's move on quickly through the program here. Saturday's the big day, as far as a lot of outdoor things happen. What's going to be happening in the 3rd Street Park and Mulberry Street right on through the day? And we've got about 1 minute to say what's happening, Mr. Simmons.
The Macon Middle Georgia Arts Council will be having their annual festival coincidentally with the Cherry Blossom Festival. That'll be on Mulberry Street. The parade will perform at Central City Park and come up Walnut Street, Walnut and Cherry. The princesses and Miss Macon will appear in the parade, and other notable people that everybody would like to greet, I think. And that afternoon is the, I believe there's cooking in the park on that day too, if I'm not mistaken. That's Saturday. And a country square dance musical event at the Coliseum that evening.
8 o'clock.
Okmulgee, you're going to open that afternoon?
Right. Don't forget the grand rededication of the Okmulgee
Well,
National
I
Monument
hadn't
Museum.
really forgotten
2
it, but
o'clock.
it is at 2 o'clock, and it is on Saturday, and I was really thinking it was Sunday, but I'm dead wrong. It's Saturday.
And that's
2
quite
o'clock.
that's quite a job they've done out there, including solar panels for powering their air conditioning and heating and so forth. And I think we've talked ourselves right out of the Cherry Blossom Festival. Something for everyone from today right on through next Sunday in Macon, part of the annual Cherry Blossom Festival. Next week on Close Up, we'll discuss plans for Bibb County's new Clisby Magnet School for the Fine Arts. We invite you to join us.